Hey y'all, hi. Good morning. It's morning for me. So I say to you, good morning. Here's what's happening. You might even be able to tell in my voice. I'm not sick, but I'm just absolutely busted the house down boots. So I am just going to do trying new makeup. I have a bunch of new things to try, and I have been really excited to film this video because I just feel like it's a crack lineup. It's going to be really fun to do, hopefully super fun to watch. But I'm going to be kind of keeping it low-key, laid back, not trying too hard, just putting on the makeup and chilling out because that is what I really need today. And I'm hoping that will work for you too. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. It's not always like this. My name is Hannah and I really love beautiful things. I love makeup. I like testing new makeup. That's what I'm doing today. But I'm always mindful of not pushing sales, not going overboard. I used to be a real overspender on makeup, and I've moved into more of like a quality over quantity model in my own life. I'm just aware that content on YouTube is one of the things that can really fuel an overspending problem. And I love making this content, but I don't want to add to that problem. So I'm trying to strike a balance. If that sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to put on my face might be the thing that I'm the most excited about. It came in the mail a couple of days ago, and I just haven't had a chance to put it on my face. But I have swatched it, and it looks perfect. This is the new Morganite from Auric. So when the brand first launched, I did a full review. I got Morganite, the original, and it was too dark and too peach for me. If you don't know, Auric is this beautiful, luxurious brand created by Samantha Ravndal. She's a YouTuber. One of the flagship products of the brand was this Glow Lust Radiant Luminizer. I'll link my full review down below. So if you're curious, you can click through and see me just like give you all the tea on the brand launch. It is an illuminator, but it also has some pigment. So for me, the fact that the original Morganite, which was the lightest shade, was too peach and too dark was a problem because the reflect is incredibly beautiful. It has skincare benefits. I wanted to slather it all over my face. It's really, really wonderful, but it was too dark. And so then I was having to color correct and lighten it up with my other base products. And over time, it just became less and less attractive to use it just because of the color. It's tough when something's too dark and too peach in that way. It's tough to make it work. So this is the same beautiful substance, but in a shade that looks like it's gonna work much, much better for me. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting it on instead of continuing to talk about it. And a lot of you already know. So I filmed a video. This came in the mail a couple of nights ago when I was already, it's just been like a weird week, y'all. I was already having kind of a hard time. This was before even the stuff with Sadie. And it was nighttime and I just impulsively filmed like a try-on video where I tried on, Sam sent me the 2 holiday shades of Smoke Reflect, which is so amazing and so sweet. So I tried these on. Hopefully if that footage was any good, which it might not be, hopefully that video will have already gone up. And in that video, I swatched Morganite and compared it to the old Morganite and all of that stuff, reacted to the way that the new one looks. So I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna put it on my face and react to it as itself in practice. Very promising. Very promising. Oh my gosh, this is everything I ever dreamed because it's like color correcting and it's brightening my redness. It's putting that like veil of neutrality and brightness over the redness on my skin and also illuminating my skin. I'm desperately trying to keep it just to half of my face so that you can see the difference once it's applied. Oh my gosh, yes, Sam. Yes. I couldn't find my small filming mirror the other evening, and it's just, you know, those indispensable tools that you don't realize how much you depend on them until they're gone. This is one of those things for me. So this is the side that has nothing. Well, I think it has a little moisturizer on it, this side. And this, we've got the luminosity that I love, and also my skin on this side looks, it's not exactly a match for my neck, right? I'm gonna need more coverage for that, but it's tonally much more similar to the rest of my body than my skin on this side. I feel like you can really see it on my chin, where like the line, you can see this like line between the Glow Lust and just my redness. It's hard to imagine me doing anything other than continuing to wear this every single day until the bottle's gone. This is what I've been waiting for ever since I first swatched Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in Nordstrom's years ago when it was first popping off. I swatched the lightest shade and I saw how dark and yellow it was on my skin and how dark and yellow it was compared to the concealers that I use. But I really wanted a product that would give me that effect. And I've been waiting for something that would do that to come out onto the market ever since then, and it never has until now. This is 2 pumps, by the way, that I'm just slowly and methodically putting all over my face. It layers beautifully on top of itself. It feels like skincare. And I know that I'm going to be like lit up like a disco ball with 2 pumps all over my face, because 1 pump would have been plenty. I'm just excited. I honestly feel like I'm putting a moisturizer on. I feel like I'm putting on like a really lovely skincare product that is sealing the moisture into my skin. Because I remember now what I put on before this, it was just like an essence. Like I was patting an essence into my skin. And I just feel like this is an excellent step to layer on top of that. Oh my gosh, couldn't be more thrilled. My lips are really dry right now though. I need to put something on just for a little while. This actually is kind of trying new makeup, although it probably won't be the final state of my lips. This is a new color of the Merit lip oil. They sent me this shade Au Naturel, which is one of the other colors. The one that they originally sent me was Marrakesh, and I really, really love that product. So even though I usually, excuse me, I just need to finish putting it on. I'm like the opposite of a completionist in makeup. When I have something that I really like, I tend to feel like I have the one that I like the most. This is for everything except Gucci lipsticks. With Gucci lipsticks, I want them all. But you know, when this first came in the mail, I was like, well, I already have one and I really love the shade. So maybe I should give this one away to someone else. But I love the formula so much that I just like selfishly opened it and started wearing it. And it is more natural than Marrakesh. I find Marrakesh really easy to wear, even though it's supposed to be a strongish color compared to some of the other, like there's a clear and like a more neutral one like this. But this is even easier to wear and it reads more like a slightly pigmented treatment of some kind. It's a great formula. Okay, that made my lips a little less crusty for the rest of the video. My bangs, y'all, hopefully by the time this video goes up, actually, I will have finally gotten a haircut. It's just been tough. It's why I've had the sort of slicked back hair in so many videos lately, because right after I wash it, when they've got like the most kind of curl and lift, they are just short enough to like stay out of my eyes, but it only lasts for like half a day and then it's difficult to get them to be styled. I feel like today it's actually better than most days have been lately, probably because it's just been a day or two since I last washed my hair. So I feel like this is passable, but still it's hard. It's not the just like wash and go perfect shape that it has been for most of the life of this haircut up until now. I love this Morganite. I love it. I just feel like I could even just wear this on a no makeup day. Maybe just 1 pump because this is pretty intense, but especially just like this with a tiny bit of concealer. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in. Do I want to use like a trying new makeup base product? I have this Kjaer Weis foundation and it's too dark for me. And I just don't know if I want to deal with that today. It's so pretty. This like frosted glass bottle is so luxurious. It's got this very skinny dropper that fits right into the mouth. I've never seen anything like this. Do you see how flush the dropper is with the mouth? I feel like what happened was when I first opened it and I pulled this out and I saw how tight it was, I was like, this is a terrible bottle design because I know what's going to happen when I push the dropper back in. Product is going to gather. It's going to be like stripping product off of the dropper when it goes in, and product's going to gather around the mouth and it's just going to be a mess. But in fact, because it stripped all of the product off the dropper when I was pulling it out, the dropper doesn't have product on the outside of it or has very, very little, a very thin layer. And so when I push it back in, that doesn't happen. And I just think that's absolutely brilliant. I just honestly, I've never seen it and I can't believe how well it works. I thought for sure that it would be a flaw, but it actually ended up being an asset. So that's lovely. It is a very lovely serum-y. The formula is lovely. I love this brand. I just wish that they would make a lighter shade because look, you can see it's peach and dark on me. It would look like I was wearing like a tinted moisturizer in the wrong color. It would make me look orange. Sometimes when something's a little dark, I can still test it, you know what I mean? Make it work. And I have tested this during makeup playtime. I've put it on my face and it is lovely. I can't like put it on. I can't take one for the team today with this because I have to film another video after this. I'm gonna go in with my trusty Rose Ink Concealer. I'm just going to try to put as little on as possible. Sometimes with this product, it's uber pigmented. Sometimes I get carried away and I just go right in on my face with the doe foot, like dot, 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 and then I start blending it out. Even with the tiniest dots, when I do that, I'm suddenly wearing way too much makeup. It doesn't get cakey because it's a really lovely emollient product. I think it has like nice waxes in it. But I feel like for me, it's like instant cake face when I do that. Not cakey, but like my version of cake face because it's just too much. I have to put it on the back of my hand and then go in with a brush, just like this much. Do you see that? Just that much for an entire like under eye side of the face. And I'm particularly invested in putting on as little as possible. See, even that is too much. I'm putting it on both sides. I want to put as little as possible on today because I really want to let Morganite shine. I want to see what it can do, sort of as like the primary base. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly what's on my face. Like I'm having it be what's all over my nose basically. And just putting this concealer under the eyes just to kill a little bit of that shine and give myself a little bit more coverage and just a tiny bit between the brows. And let's do a little bit on the chin. Yeah, the pigment of this Rose Ink product is unreal. I mean, do I need to put on the sides of the face? Maybe just a tiny bit. I do have this blemish over here, which I'm sure is stress induced. Also, that part of my face, I like it when this part of my face blends into my neck. Sometimes I put the thickest application of this concealer just right on the tip of my chin, because I feel like when the tip of my chin right there looks red, that's what really makes it look like my chin and neck are different colors. But if I can get the tip of my chin to be a little bit more neutral, even if there's not full coverage on the rest of my face, it just helps the illusion a lot. I think I do want a powder, but I don't have a new powder. I'm gonna go get my old powder. This brush, which I've been using nonstop for powder lately, is from the Refer Holiday collection. And I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. Like if sometimes they sell out. I don't know if it like launched and sold out already or if it's even out yet. I don't really know. But they sent me the holiday collection. It was kind of a long time ago that they came in the mail and I just haven't remembered to mention them. I need to conceal that little guy. Usually I would use my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer for this, but I think it might be in a bag actually. I think I took it with me when I went out to lunch with my friend the other day and I don't want to go get it. So I'm just using a little more of the Rose Ink. With a blemish like this that's still sort of under the surface and so it's developing that kind of shine on top, you know, that sort of slickness. When a blemish starts to come up and it gets that slick shine and it feels like nothing will stick to it and like it's hard to get concealer or foundation to stick to it. I find that if I apply like a thin layer of whatever base product I'm using, like concealer, and then powder, and then spot conceal on top of the powder, I'm more likely to get effective coverage. And then what I often do is just put a tiny bit of powder then on top of that. I don't see people doing this technique very often because it's one of those rules you're not supposed to break, that you don't put cream on top of powder, but sometimes it's just the ticket to get it to stick. All right, I'm quickly gonna get my brows out of the way. They are mostly gonna be covered by my bangs today. This business is going on, but I actually do have a new product. I can't remember if I've applied this on camera yet or talked about it yet. The Anatato Brow Wax, which I found out about from an Instagrammer named Lisa Pans. I'll try to remember to link her down below, but if I forget, at Lisa Pans, Lisapans. It's a soap brows kit, like a classic soap brows kit. I just find it particularly effective. And actually, I did talk about it. I now remember I talked about it in a video that I filmed about like really great beauty products that I've been trying lately. And since then, I've continued to wear it. And I have to say, its one weak point is if it gets hot. I think that when I first got it, we've been going through this crazy weather in LA. Like it'll be cold, and then it'll be like super hot. I've been wearing like wool sweaters for a week, and then there's a week where I'm literally like in shorts and t-shirts for like another week in late November. So when it first arrived here, it was a cold spell. It was quite cold in the house. And I was like, this is the most incredible brow soap I've ever tried. I'm singing its praises from the rooftops. And the past week, it's been quite hot. And I found that if I get hot, if my body temperature goes up, then it can get a little bit soft and kind of lose its hold a little bit. Like it'll just get a little bit limp. My brows will get a little bit limp. It's not as though it drips off and drips down or something. It stays in my brows and it's very easy to push them back into shape. It just doesn't have that insane glue-like hold on hot days the way that it does on cold days. But it hasn't been stopping me from using it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm also going to use the Glossier Brow Flick to add a little bit of fullness back into my brows. Again, it's not a big thing today because they're mostly going to be covered, but this is just something that I've been doing lately, so I wanted to demonstrate it again. I feel like maybe I've already demonstrated it. But I also, one of the things I like about the Annotato Brow Wax is that it plays well with products like this. So that's the subtle difference between one brow and the other. This is the one where I've used the brow flick on top of the soap, and this is the one where I haven't. And a lot of soaps will just like totally resist a brow pen, or they'll immediately like coat the tip of the felt tip and make it so that it doesn't draw anymore. And this one doesn't seem to do that. Or maybe it is like the combination of these two products. For some reason, they are working fine with each other. They're not canceling each other out. I got kind of carried away. I tried to come in too far with the brow pen, and then I like added too much and it started to look patchy. Now I have to add more. It's like a vicious cycle. So we're ending up with a stronger brow than I intended to have today, but hopefully it doesn't look too terrible. I'm just going to leave it there. I can't fuss with it anymore on a day like today. We'll bring back the bangs. Or will we? I feel like this looks like a comb over. I feel like this is the only way that it looks good. Okay, this is just how it's going to be. We're proceeding. And we're proceeding to another thing that I'm really, really excited to test. This just arrived last night. I purchased it a long time ago for a review with my budget for self-sponsored review. It's the Danessa Myricks Infinite Chrome Flakes in the shade Strobe Light. And I did open it last night when the box arrived. I was really surprised by what was inside the little jar. Let me show you. I haven't watched any reviews of this. I think I haven't seen very many come up, and I also, part of me was like, I'll just wait and see what it's like. But I did have a preconceived notion of what it would be like, and I was totally wrong. The little jar is adorable. Oh gosh, there's no way that the light's going to capture this. That's what it looks like inside, but I'll just have to tell you. Maybe you can see there. You can see the light sort of spangling off of it, but you can't really see the blue reflect. Maybe on my eyes, you'll be able to see it. I'm going to put down, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down eyelid primer. Although this product, so here's what surprised me about it. It's like a gel. It's like these flakes of really, really reflective, multicolored iridescent mica in a gel. And for some reason, I thought that it was going to be like dry flakes, sort of, or like dry, like very, very flaky, dry, creamy formula, sort of like a pressed pot of the Rowan shadows, or maybe something like the Rituel de Fille eye soot, but with like big flaky reflective pieces in it. I wasn't expecting it to be basically a gel product, but I'm not mad at it. I actually think the thing that I really love about other Danessa Myricks products that I've tried is that they tend to be really long wearing, like to set down and to just stay and stay and stay. I think she's a makeup artist, and so she's thinking about longevity. And she's also really into these like super reflective, shiny, super glossy makeup looks. So she's thinking about how to create that super glossy, ethereal aesthetic, but have it be sturdy, have it be something that will last through an entire photo shoot or through an entire day. And that's what I want too. I want to look super shiny and glossy, but I don't want to be sticky and greasy. So this follows suit with that, which I just didn't expect. It's literally wet. It's like a wet, it's just a blob of gel with those flakes suspended in it. And I think based on images that I saw online, I was expecting it to just be flakes with like a little bit of adhesive. I cannot even express to you how like otherworldly and reflective it is. Here, I'm going to try to give you sort of a big swatch and maybe you'll be able to see. Yeah, you can kind of, do you see that? So the flakes are like big, irregular, flat micas that are just like reflecting this insane blue, purple, pink, gold, but very black light. It looks like a black light in the daylight, basically. And I know from swatching it on the back of my hand last night that in short order, it completely dries down and is totally budge proof until you wash it off. So I'm gonna put this basically all over my eyes. I just have to. And then maybe I'll go in the outer corner and build a little bit of depth if I feel like I need that today. Okay, so reporting back, it's drying down as I apply it in a serious way, which again, I love. It's not as though it's drying so fast that I can't manipulate it. I can just feel it setting into place as I apply it. And I just trust that it's not going to budge. And I think that's fantastic. So many products like this are creamy, have oils in them, silicones in them, likely to kind of crease over time, not quite as stable. Or liquid eyeshadows are like kind of harsher feeling, like they dry down super fast and super crusty. And this there's something about the gel that makes it go on really smooth and easily than the fact that it's setting down completely. It feels very mild, almost like water-based, and then it's just like setting completely. It's awesome. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. I regret only getting one color because this is the kind of product that I particularly love. And I feel like it's innovative. I've never tried anything like it before. I've seen flakes like this from indie brands, but I think that indie brands that sell this kind of thing, it's just a little tub of straight flakes that you stick to your eyes. And it's not like in some sort of mixing medium like this. Like this feels like flakes, really special flakes of mica that are pre-mixed with an amazing, fully setting, self-setting mixing medium. The other thing that I want to report back about is that as I apply and spread it out, I can really feel how irregular the shapes are. And I did get one or two like huge flakes, like 5 or 6 times bigger than the average flake. And so I love that too, because it's like extremely chunky and irregular. There you can see the irregularity. You see that big flake right there? I love that. I feel like in a lot of the promo imagery for this product, she must have built the gel up really, really thick because it was doing that kind of like crazing thing. I really like this much more sheer and ethereal application, but I definitely want to experiment with building it up a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually, because I have it right here in front of me, I'm going to use the cream shade from Entice, which is one of the Auric Glow Lust, the Holiday Glow Lust. It's this like deep kind of neutral grungy olive. I'm just going to use that in the outer corner a tiny, tiny bit to give myself a little bit of structure. There's a swatch of it in case you didn't see that other video or in case I didn't end up posting it for some reason. Okay, loving this. A couple of things. One, I'm applying the cream shadow from Auric on top of a layer of the chrome flakes. I love to layer like powders and creams on top of glitters and glitter gels. It's another thing that I know isn't that usual, but it usually works. You know what I mean? Especially when something sets down completely. And I just don't think it's a problem. I feel like it didn't make it patchy. It's a little bit textured, but because they're both these like sheerish washes, it worked. It looks intentional and it provided me the sculpting that I needed. I love that. And it also is a testament to the sturdiness and effectiveness of both of these formulas. The other thing is that this olive green, I feel like putting it on like this just as a deepening shade, and especially mixing it with something that has these like blue and purple and pinky reflects, it's also a testament to the versatility and the neutrality of this olive. I think a thick layer of this blended out all over can look strongly green, but it can also just be used as a neutral, kind of like a dusky gray with a little bit of a green tinge to it. And there might have been a little bit of something on my brush that was blending with it to make it even more neutral, just a tiny bit. But mostly this is the color, you know what I mean? Like when you apply it really thinly like this and blend it out, you can get something this neutral, which I absolutely love. Because as much as I love green, I'm much more likely to wear a strong color like green or even red if it can lean neutral like this, if it has that sort of duskiness, that mystery. So I love this eye look just as it is, but because we're trying new makeup, I'm gonna go in with just one more layer of the chrome flakes on like the inner like third to 2/3 of my lid and just build it up a little bit and see what happens. I'll get in a little closer for you. Yeah, that second layer made it much more intense. It's in the layering that we're gonna get that crazy like reflective alligator skin madness that we saw in those those promo pictures. Wow, a lot has surprised me about these Danessa Myricks Chrome Flakes. They're lighter and more delicate and easier to work with and prettier, kind of, than I was expecting. I feel like I'm ever more impressed by Danessa Myricks. Look how it looks too, layered over that's like, I had the green from Auric on my finger. I feel like with the black base, actually, you can really see, or with a darkened base, you can really see the reflex much better than you can see on my eyes. Kind of makes me want to take the color over a little more. Okay, I went back, I got a little carried away, got into the zone, I'm sorry. I went back and I added some more of the Auric cream in the outer corner just to try to give myself a little more definition there. And then I couldn't help it and I went back and put more of the Chrome Flakes on top of the seam between the two to try to get them to light up in that kind of black light way, which they sort of are at some angles. And I've just got to stop because I could just keep going and going. And I can see how quickly one could get it built to that super unusual textured looking finish. And we're kind of almost there. They are starting to sort of mix with each other because I've layered them so thickly. I feel like that first application with just the one layer of the Chrome Flakes and then the little delicate layer of the cream was very sort of polished and organized and diffused, and nothing was mixing or breaking up or texturing. And now that I've gone on and layered them again, another and then another and then another, it's starting to get grungier. Hopefully intentionally so. I mean, hopefully you can see that it's intentional there. And the textures and the reflections are so intense that I feel like it can't help but look like it's on purpose. You know what I mean? But there is, I think, a limit to how well you can layer these kinds of creams, especially because I get the sense that the gel, as I layer it with something else, is a little bit dissolving. It's a pretty strong, to be so wet, but then to set down so firmly, it's a pretty intense cosmetic, and it's not stinging my eyes or anything at all. It feels very mild going on, but I can tell that with thick layers, it's getting in amongst the Auric cream a little bit. But I'm going to put a little bit of the cream on my lower lashes, lower lash line. I've been completely ignoring, completely eschewing my lower lash line. It's just a touch. I'm actually trying not to make it look too makeup-y on my lower lash line because I want to keep it a little bit light. I mean, I know we've passed that mark long ago. We've left light behind long ago, but I don't want it to be that really, really smoky, sultry under eye right now because there's so much going on above. I just want to add a little aesthetic framing down there. So I've just put a tiny bit on. I like this kind of cream for that, for a little bit of just a little smokiness on the lower lash line without doing too much. Okay, I actually had to go wash my hands because the glitter gel on them was so intense. Once it set down, it wasn't very easy to wipe it off, even with a washcloth with a little bit of micellar water on it. It's a really, really sturdy product. This is kind of old school. I haven't done a look like this in a long time, but I also feel like it really fits the vibe. This is how we're feeling today. Okay. I'm trying the Chantecaille sent me some PR, which is really exciting. And I'm trying this insanely expensive mascara. It's a $75 mascara, but it's supposed to have lash lengthening benefits in it or lash serum benefits. I think it's supposed to, if you are a person who spends a lot of money on lash enhancing stuff, it's supposed to replace that while also being a mascara. I do not know whether it's lengthening my lashes at all or making them healthier or thicker. If I notice any real visible difference over time, I'll obviously tell you about it. I am not a person who was over here spending $75 or $100 on a lash growth serum, so it wouldn't make sense for me ever to spend this much on a mascara. I do think that my lashes kind of go in cycles. Sometimes they're thicker and fuller, and sometimes they're thinner, just like regular hair growth cycles. So, it's exciting to think that this might be helping them grow, but I just don't know for sure whether I'm going to see much of a difference. For now, I like using it because I like the effect that it gives my lashes. It does make them longer and a bit fuller, but it doesn't have that gunky spidery quality that some of my favorite mascaras have, but it's nice to have a change from that, you know? So I've actually been using it quite a lot. I've actually used it almost exclusively since it's arrived. And then when I want it's not over here right now, but when I want a super mega pumped up lash, I reach for my e.l.f. Big Mood mascara, which is like my current favorite. So I've just been alternating between the two of them. This one, yeah, the performance is pretty impressive, but you don't have to pay this much money to get a mascara that performs well, you know? Yeah, this is really the vibe. It's like we're sleepy, we're grungy, we're messy, but we're sparkling. There's the look right now with those kind of intense brows. I like the way that it looks, and I love how bulletproof it feels. It's all completely set down, completely. Like the eye version of a liquid lipstick that's not going to budge until you wash it off at the end of the day. And I love that. I feel like if someone who wasn't in the beauty world heard me saying that it was the eye version of a liquid lipstick, it would be like, what are you talking about? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to us, okay? All right, here's what we're doing. In spite of the fact that I had a plan, which was to use this other product that's new to me that I've really been enjoying. This is also by Merit. When they first sent me PR, these products were out of stock. What are they called? The highlighting balms were out of stock. And then in the PR package that they recently sent me, they're included. So there's Bounce, which is the other one even over here? I'm so unprepared. I don't know where the other one is, but Bounce. So the other one is just like a champagne, which basically looks clear on me. Bounce is the one that has a little bit of color in it. It's like a rosier one. I actually really like this product. I'm gonna apply it with like this brush. It's got that slightly oily finish that makes it extremely high shine. And I know it's maybe a little hard to see. No, you can see. I was gonna say it's hard to see because my cheeks are already so glowy. But you can see the difference between this like super reflective shine and just like the satiny undertone of shine from the Auric. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of a couple of highlighting balmy products that I've had in the past that I've loved so much that I've panned them completely. So one was this weird product called like the Peacher's Daughter or something? I can't remember now what the company was, but it was this weird small company that sometimes included its products in like Birchbox or Glambox or something like that. And a friend of my sister's had received this little sample size of this like glossy highlighting balm blush lighter thing that they were calling it that. I think that's what they were calling it, blush light. I'll find out what it was because I used to use it constantly and I was always linking it in my description box. And now I can't remember what it's called. I just loved it because it didn't set down completely, but it also was totally non-sticky. And so it would my face would retain this beautiful shine and feel natural and feel hydrated and nourished, but like my hairs wouldn't stick in it and it wasn't very easy to disturb. It had this really lovely balance. And then the other one was, my brain is working really poorly today, you can tell, because I can't remember these things. The other one was the New Drop Lumi Cheek from Yes Style, and it was in the shade Bronzed Honey. Is that right? Something honey. That had a very similar kind of like greasy, oily set gel, but there's just something about it that meant that it didn't stay sticky. It was never sticky. It was sort of like a soft quality. That's like my favorite texture for a highlighting product. And I actually panned both of those products completely. Like those are two products that I used up completely like last year. And then recently I've been thinking that I wish that I could replace them, but I have so many highlighting products that like, no, I'm not going to go out and buy the New Drop Lumi Cheek again or try to track down that other product, which I think has now been discontinued. But I've sort of been thinking wistfully about them because I would always reach for them when I really wanted a luminous skin look, but I didn't want to mess with a bunch layering like Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight wand on top of like a blush and like blah, 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 like blending them out. They always just added that perfect sheer color, like slightly very sheer, slight color with an extremely shiny, almost greasy looking cheek that didn't feel greasy and that also didn't set down completely. This product does everything that either of those did. It just happens to be in a stick. I liked those two things because they were in a pan and I prefer to use a brush. So this is what I've been doing. I've been going in with a brush on this Merit product and applying it gloss all across. like I used to talk about. And I mean, it's absolute perfection for me. I really love this look. I am going to put a tiny bit of powder again underneath my eyes just to dampen just a tiny bit the intensity. It might be that this Merit product stays a little bit softer and greasier than either of those two products, just a little bit. Like if you don't like anything emollient to be on your face ever for any length of time, you shouldn't try this. Or at least, go in store, go into Sephora and swatch it and see how you feel. The thing that makes it work for me is that it has that kind of oily finish. Again, that means that things don't stick to it. So even though it stays emollient, I don't feel like my face is becoming just like this Velcro board for cat hair and fuzz and my hair and all of the stuff. Let's put the mole back on. Okay, lips. What do I have? I think it's gonna be this. I haven't really gotten the chance to try this on. I did mess with it a little bit, but I haven't actually like worn it. It's another thing from Chantecaille. It is the Le Matte Stilo in the shade Meadow Sweet. I am very attracted to this because it looks like a spot-on dupe for a product that I used to love. It was the Bite Beauty lip crayon in the shade Glacé. It's like a slightly deep nude on me, but Glacé had this. It looks sort of like a normal color when you swatch it, but then on me, it just had a slight cool tone that made it look just ever so slightly grungy. And I always felt like the coolest bee when I put it on. I always just felt like, I was like, there's just something about it. And I ended up using it completely up. And I've never really found a good dupe for it. This seems kind of promising both color-wise and texture-wise. Okay, very interesting. It goes on really slick. It's just like really soft. The tip of the product is extremely soft and slick and smooth. So the pigment's there. I mean, it's very pigmented and the effect is matte, right? Like you look at me and you're like, that looks like a matte lip as opposed to like a satin lip or something like that. But it doesn't feel anything like a matte product, like nothing at all. It feels like a nourishing, almost balmy product. It's nothing like, for example, the Rose Ink lip crayon or lip pencil, which I feel like is the product that's similar to this that I've tried recently. But that is like really high pigment, quite stiff and super sturdy. And so when I use it, I feel like I'm applying like really almost permanent layer of pigment, and then blending it out, it's quite stiff. So I have to blending pretty aggressively, just softly diffuses the edge. Whereas this is so slick and soft and super creamy that I had to be kind of delicate when I was blending the edge, and it was a little bit hard. I had to like fuss with it a little bit when I was buffing out my lip line to get it to be not too messy and to get it to be even. And because of that slick finish, I feel like it's not gonna last very long. Like I don't know, maybe it'll set down a little bit after it's been on my lips for a second, but right now it feels like this probably wouldn't last through eating and drinking. It feels like something that I would wanna like reapply, like a more satiny or like a softer lip crayon, like reapply a couple of times over the course of the day. I do love the color though. And it does feel like nourishing, like my lips, it feels really great. And the combination of the moisturizing quality, because it does feel really moisturizing, the combination of that and the very matte, the visually matte finish has made my lips look seamless. You know what I mean? It's made them look really smooth and plumper than they actually are. And you don't really see those like lines in them. I feel like Chantecaille, from what I can tell so far, is really designed for the customer who's not in the first flush of youth. You know, like it feels like all of the products are for people who are dealing with the kinds of skin or structural challenges that come with being in one's like maybe late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. So with this product, for example, it's forfeiting like extreme longevity for moisture and a softening and diffusing of those fine lines. I feel like when your lips are younger and like the skin around your lips is younger and newer, you can take sort of a really harsh formula that's just gonna like stick and like a liquid lipstick type of thing, like drawing a really, really sharp, harsh line where it's just like, you know, the edge between one plump skin and the other plump skin, like your chin and your lips. And then you can use something that's like really strong and dries down and has a super sharp line and then like lasts all day. But I'm getting to the point where I really want to have like a soft diffuse lip line because there are some vertical creases starting to form on my upper lip. My lip line isn't exactly smooth and it's not even. So I'm trying to have it be like this soft diffused situation. And it is nice to see my lips looking so seamless and plump, even though it's just sort of like a trick of the finish of the product. I personally really value longevity. I really like that rose ink lip product because I like putting it on and then, doing whatever, going about my day, eating, drinking, and then I look in the mirror 6 hours later and I'm like, oh, my lips are still, pigmented from that product. I like that, but I also really understand the appeal of this. And I totally understand that maybe like in 5 years or 10 years, I'll be more than willing to forfeit longevity for something that just really makes my lips look good instead of making them look a little bit cakey or makeup-y, which sturdier products might do increasingly as I age. That's the sense that I get from Chantecaille, and that is what I think is behind the engineering of this product. And as that, it's really nice. And I probably will continue to wear it. I'm especially impressed by the look, even though I felt like I had to fuss with it a little more when I was putting it on. Now I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I see you. I see you, Chantecaille. I see what you've done here. I think that's going to be it, y'all. I am now in a position to get ready to film the video that I have to film next. Thank you for being with me today on this morning when it's just a little bit chaotic and stressful and I'm just trying to get it together and soldier on. I appreciate you all, as always, so much for that, for being here and being part of my support system. You are genuinely the best. And I'm going to say to you what I also need to say to myself today. Let's all remember, don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.